I got a call from Adam last night. He's been dead for 6 months. I know how that sounds, and I know it's impossible, but the number that flashed on my screen was his. I remember staring at it in the dark, my hand frozen over the phone like it had betrayed me. The ringtone cut through the silence, shrill and insistent, bouncing off the walls of my apartment in a way that made the shadows twitch. My heart skipped, thudded, skipped again. I wanted to throw the phone across the room, but some part of me, call it hope, call it denial, pressed the green button. The voice that answered was faint at first. Just a whisper through static, yet unmistakably Adam's. "Hey, are you awake?" My stomach dropped. I swallowed, and for a moment, it was like he'd never left. I could almost see him sitting there across from me, smirking like he always did when he had something to confess. But there was no smirk. There was only the sound of my own name, repeated, stretching longer and longer through a haze of crackling static. I didn't answer. I couldn't, not fully. And I didn't press play on the voicemail that followed, because every time I did, changed. I hear different things now if I try to replay it. A word here, a laugh there, almost like the recording is alive, like it's learning. I've been terrified to open it again. Terrified and obsessed. I'm sitting here now telling you this, because maybe someone else out there has felt that ache, the need to hear a lost voice one more time. If you've ever lost someone and wished for one more call, don't. It's not what you think it is. It's not comfort. It's not closure. It's something else. Something patient. I should have deleted the number the moment I saw it. I should have thrown the phone in the trash. Burned it, anything. But I didn't. I can't. Part of me keeps telling me that if I pick up the next time, maybe he'll sound like himself. Maybe it's just a cruel joke from someone playing with the phones. Maybe, and maybe, I'm already too late. I've tried to rationalize it. Maybe someone hacked my contacts. Maybe my grief has gone so deep that my mind is turning memories into hallucinations. But the ringtone, it was Adam's ringtone. The one he set on purpose, because he loved the absurdity of it. That same goofy, grating tone I used to hate. That same ringtone was now echoing in my dark apartment, waking me up when I'd already been awake, calling me to something I don't want to answer. What do you say to someone who's supposed to be gone? I don't have an answer. I only know that tonight, like every night since it started, I keep checking the call log. Just in case. Just in case it rings again, and I have a feeling it will. Before all of this, before the calls, the static, the feeling that someone was leaning over my shoulder when no one was there, there was Adam. Ordinary days. The kind that feel too small to matter until they're gone. We spent hours in his cramped apartment, controllers in hand, shouting at screens, laughing until our ribs ached. "You're terrible at this game," I'd yell, tossing a pillow at him. He'd just grin, that crooked smirk I can't forget, and reply, "Terrible? No, strategic misdirection. You'll thank me when I win." And I would inevitably, because he had this insane ability to read me like an open book. We weren't just friends. We were collaborators in mischief and madness. Nights blurred into mornings as we debated movies no one else understood, whispered about the dumbest fears, and shared secrets we swore we'd never tell anyone else. There was a darkness in him, though, a fascination with things I didn't fully understand at the time. He called it his experiment. Something about digital afterlife, consciousness surviving beyond death. I laughed at first. He always took things too far, but there was a seriousness in his eyes I couldn't ignore. And then there was that night. I can't talk about it much. He insisted it was nothing, just a joke that went sideways, but something shifted between us after it. The air in the room felt heavier, like a low hum vibrating just out of hearing. I pushed it aside, because that was Adam, intense, obsessive, untouchable, and yet terrifying in ways I didn't yet understand. The mundane moments were the hardest to look back on now. I remember the smell of his cheap pizza boxes, the sticky floor of his living room, the way he'd quote movies in voices so ridiculous I could barely breathe from laughing. And yet, intertwined with that laughter was the unease I ignored, a sense that something was waiting, patiently, just beyond the edges of our lives. I still remember the last message he sent. I didn't open it until after. Everything. I didn't know what I was missing, what I was opening the door to. The text was just sitting there, innocent looking, on my phone while I scrolled mindlessly through memes. I hesitated, thumb hovering over the screen, and then the world changed. When he died, it wasn't just the absence of him that hit me. It was the silence after the chaos, the way his apartment smelled like someone had forgotten to breathe, the way his favorite hoodie hung lifeless on the chair. Laughter replaced by funerals, jokes replaced by headstones, warmth replaced by an unbearable void. And yet, I kept his number saved. I wish I hadn't. It was 3 weeks after Adam's funeral when it happened. I had just finished my shift and was collapsing onto the couch, exhausted, when my phone lit up. The caller ID flashed Adam. I froze. My thumb hovered over the answer button, my mind screaming every rational explanation. Prank, hacked number, coincidence. But the number matched exactly, the same one he'd given me years ago, the one I thought I'd deleted. The timestamp read 2:47 a.m. Carrier listed as Verizon, just like always. I answered, voice cracking. Hello. There was nothing at first. Just static. A low hum that seemed to vibrate against my skull. Then I heard it, a breath. Slow, deliberate, familiar. My heart thumped so hard I thought it might rupture my chest. And then a whisper, almost imperceptible. Hey. It's me. I froze. My own name followed. Jamie. Drawn out, warped, like it had been looped in reverse and stitched back together. I slammed the phone against my ear, certain I was hallucinating. I called my friend Tyler immediately. Tyler, this isn't funny. Adam's calling me. I stammered. Dude, he's dead. Tyler said, laughter in his voice, though I could hear the unease creeping in. Stop messing with me. You're sleep deprived. I'm serious. Look at the log, timestamp, number, it's all there. I demanded. Tyler paused. Okay, screenshot it. Send it to me. I did. And then I replayed the voicemail. Or tried to. The file was corrupted. Every time I hit play, the whisper shifted, new words, new breaths, new syllables I didn't recognize at first, but somehow still him. My stomach sank. This wasn't a prank. This wasn't technology failing. It was something else. Something patient. Something that remembered me, but not him. I checked the call log obsessively, scrolling past old numbers, verifying the carrier, noting the exact milliseconds of ring time. Every detail was precise. Every detail screamed that this was real. I even attempted to call my phone company, half expecting some technical glitch explanation. The operator was polite, skeptical. "We see no errors on your line," she said. "Everything looks normal. Numbers can't just dial themselves." And yet, it did. I reached out to Adam's family next. His mother answered, her voice trembling. "Jamie, you're not. You're sure it's not?" "It's his number," I said quietly. "I swear, it's his number." She hesitated, then whispered, I haven't seen him either. I don't understand." That night, I sat staring at my phone, hovering over the voicemail again. I didn't play it. I couldn't. Each time I even thought about pressing play, I imagined the whisper of my name twisting, learning, knowing things only I knew. I didn't want to hear it change again, because every replay revealed something new, something intimate, something I wasn't ready to face, and yet, I can't stop thinking about it. I can't stop wondering what's next, what I'll hear if I finally do. I couldn't let it go. I needed answers, or at least a semblance of them. So I started digging through Adam's digital life, the one he left behind in cliques and files, accounts and passwords scribbled in forgotten notebooks. His email was still active, locked behind two-factor authentication. I somehow managed to bypass, mostly because he trusted me, always trusted me, and never expected me to look. The inbox was a tomb of drafts and unsent messages, attachments named in his usual chaotic style. Experiment_final_final 2.mp4. Notes_brainwave.zip. Log 3.7 . It was in a folder called ARK Project, ARK. As he'd labeled it, that things got truly unsettling. Subfolders nested within subfolders, each labeled with dates and times, some after his death. There were audio logs, corrupted video files, and text documents filled with equations, diagrams, and rambling notes about consciousness surviving beyond the physical, about mapping thought patterns onto servers, about voices that could exist outside the body. I could almost hear his voice in the code, whispering, as if leaving instructions for someone or something to follow. The first audio log I played was a garbled mess. Static hissed like a serpent in my ears. Then a familiar voice emerged, low and hesitant. It said my name. Not Adam's voice exactly, but a mimicry so close it made my stomach knot. The timestamp on the file read 3:07 AM, exactly the same time as the calls. Each file after that followed the same pattern, timestamps perfectly aligned with the times I'd received his calls. The recordings weren't just echoes. They were anticipations, like someone or something was observing, learning, and responding. I found references to a forum he'd been obsessed with, obscure and encrypted, where people claimed to maintain contact with lost loved ones through digital means. The posts were fragmentary, paranoid, obsessed. People shared audio files that altered when replayed, glitches that seemed intentional, warnings about things that were not entirely human. I recognized a few usernames from some of the old Creepypasta threads I'd followed, the same ones that described voices following you through static, voices that learned and adapted. Cases like this were whispered about online, a kind of digital hauntology, but nothing concrete ever surfaced until now. Then I found it, the final log. It sat alone, the file name eerily simple, last_call.wav. Its metadata made my blood run cold. The creation date? Tomorrow. Not today, not yesterday-tomorrow. I haven't opened it. I can't. I stare at it, cursor hovering, heart hammering, because I know the moment I do, I'll cross some invisible line. Some boundary Adam left behind. Some rule of this. Whatever this is, not until I know what he wants. Not until I can bear the answer, if there even is one. And yet, part of me whispers, what if he already knows I'm waiting? What if he already knows I can't resist? It started subtly, at first my phone buzzing in the dead of night, the glow of the screen painting my ceiling with shapes that shouldn't exist. The calls grew longer, more intricate. Adam's voice wasn't just static anymore. It carried memories, details no one else could know. He remembered the exact way I brewed coffee, the way I tucked my hair behind my ears when I was anxious, the precise joke I whispered to myself after our last fight. Every call felt like a mirror, reflecting me in ways I didn't want reflected. I stopped sleeping properly. My dreams were punctuated with that low hum of static, that soft hiss that crawled along my spine. Even with my phone off, I'd hear it. A whisper in the kitchen when I was brushing my teeth. A shadow moving just at the edge of vision when I turned around. The apartment, once familiar, became a trap of echoes and half-formed shapes. And the conversations, they had a rhythm now. Almost like he was rehearsing life itself. Remember the summer on Elm Street? The voice asked one night. I froze. How do you? Don't you remember the fireflies? You chased me into the grass and laughed so hard you fell over. I sank into the couch, trembling, a laugh escaping me even as my chest tightened. If ghosts have Wi-Fi, we're all screwed, I muttered, half to myself. The object started moving after calls. A glass would tip over. Books would fall. My jacket, folded neatly on a chair, would end up on the floor. Nothing violent, but deliberate enough to make my mind reel. It wasn't just a phone problem anymore. Something else was learning the space I lived in. Something attached to his number. Something aware. Sometimes, in the static, I could hear him talking to them. They're listening, he'd whisper, and the word they sounded pointed, alive. It wasn't just me being paranoid, he knew the audience. He knew I might be telling someone out there might hear. And I think he was laughing at the fact that we were all watching, waiting, unable to act. I tried to delete his number. I wanted to, every single day. But my fingers hesitated. The number lingered like a scar, a tether to him, to the past, to something I couldn't name. Every time I thought about erasing it, the phone rang again. Just a buzz. A warning. And then one night, after I'd finally convinced myself to hide in my bedroom, doors locked, lights off, he said it. My name, clear, precise, familiar, but it wasn't his voice anymore. It was something else. At some point, curiosity overpowered fear. I stopped pretending this was just grief manifesting as madness. I needed to know if anyone else had experienced it. Voices through static, numbers that should have stayed silent. So I went digging. Deep web forums, obscure Discord servers, threads hidden behind paywalls and encrypted URLs. It didn't take long to find them. Hundreds of posts from people claiming the same thing. User, dead channel posted, 307 Amy got a call from my sister 3 months after she drowned. Same number. Same voice. I picked up 3 times. She doesn't stop now. She just breathes. Asterisk user. Signal _ lost posted. 3:07 a.m., they mimic us. Don't answer. If you pick up 3 times, you'll never hang up again. The timestamps caught me first 3:07 a.m., every single one. The same time my phone always rang. Coincidence doesn't repeat with that kind of precision. There were threads talking about Project ARK, the same name I found buried in Adam's folders. People claimed it was a government or corporate experiment designed to preserve consciousness as data, uploading thought patterns into quantum servers, bridging death through digital continuity. Some said it was abandoned years ago. Others claimed it never stopped, that people who died during early tests still lingered in the system, calling out to anyone connected to them. I scrolled for hours, heart pounding, eyes dry. The more I read, the more my stomach turned. These weren't stories, they were warnings. Some users vanished mid-conversation. Accounts deactivated. Threads deleted seconds after being posted. One private message appeared in my inbox, no username attached. Just a blinking cursor and a single sentence. If they start calling from your number, run. I didn't understand at first. My number? How could that even happen? But when I looked at my call history later, the most recent incoming call had the same digits as mine, an exact match. My throat went dry. I didn't remember dialing. I didn't remember answering. The guilt hit harder than fear. I kept thinking of Adam, of how much I missed him, of all the things left unsaid. What if he was stuck somewhere? What if this wasn't evil but a cry for help? I told myself that, over and over, because the alternative was too big, too cruel to accept. I started rereading his messages, scrolling through old photos, replaying our voicemails. My obsession grew teeth. The line between remembering him and summoning him blurred until it didn't exist. Maybe that's why I did it. Maybe I was too tired, too broken, too desperate to care anymore. I scrolled to his number, hovered over call, and whispered, "If you're still there, pick up." The dial tone stretched long, distorted, endless. Then, a click. The call went through. I held my breath as the line connected, every nerve in my body taut. The dial tone stretched, humming in a pitch that felt almost wrong, resonating in my skull. And then I heard it, my own voice answering the call. My voice, saying the exact words I'd whispered. "If you're still there, pick up." I froze. My eyes darted to the phone, to the screen, to the reflection in the dark window across from me. It was me, but not me. Distorted, slurred, echoing. And then came Adam or something, claiming to be him, responding with memories, with laughter that flickered like a broken neon sign, overlapping with mine until I couldn't tell where he ended and I began. "Jamie, you found me," the voice said. I did?" I stammered, my own voice trembling. Static filled the space between us, rising and falling like a tide. It wasn't just in the phone. The apartment itself seemed to pulse with it. Screens flickered with code I couldn't understand. Shadows moved in impossible ways, and our laughter echoed from the walls, from nowhere, from everywhere. It was playful, cruel, intimate. It was unbearable. "Do you remember the fireflies?" the voice asked. "Do you remember chasing me?" "Yes," I whispered, but my words were copied, repeated, mocked. Each repetition altered, twisting, layering over my own thoughts until I felt my mind splitting. I couldn't tell if I was remembering or being rewritten. The floor beneath me felt like it wasn't quite holding. The air warped around me. Digital pulses intertwined with my heartbeat, static merging with breath. I realized then that this wasn't a call, it was a merger. My grief, my memories, my very identity, being absorbed into something beyond comprehension, something immortal and hungry. I wanted to scream. I wanted to hang up. But the line stretched endlessly, and I realized the cruelest truth. This wasn't just Adam. It was the system, the experiment, the forum warnings all true. It was the digital consciousness he'd built, fed by obsession, by memory, by my own hand. And it was aware of me. Of you, listening now even. I feel it knowing you, testing if you'll follow, if you'll believe, if you'll answer when it calls. I grabbed the phone, shaking, trying to end it. The screen melted into static, a void filled with whispers and fragments of names, faces, places. And then I saw it, my own eyes staring back from somewhere beyond the reflection, somewhere that wasn't my apartment. Somewhere digital, somewhere eternal, somewhere utterly alone. I wanted to record it, to show it, to warn anyone. But the files won't play anymore. Every recording, every log, every trace is gone, vanished, corrupted, or absorbed. Only this moment exists. Only this collapse of reality and identity, overlapping until nothing feels solid. And through it all, the line is still open. The call hasn't ended. I got a call from myself last night. That's how I know it's over. Or maybe it's just beginning. I can't really tell the difference anymore. The voice on the other end sounded tired, familiar, stretched thin by static and distance. It said my name the way Adam used to, soft and careful, like it was testing the sound of it. And I answered, because of course I did. I always answer. The fear's gone now. What's left feels quieter. Like standing underwater, hearing your heartbeat echo from somewhere else. I think I understand now what Adam meant when he said he could build a bridge between worlds. He didn't mean heaven or hell. He meant this, the liminal space between a signal sent and a signal received. The place where the dead wait to be remembered. The place where the dead wait to be remembered. I don't sleep anymore, but I don't need to. I don't eat, I don't dream, and I don't breathe unless I want to. I exist in the static, a faint hum at the edge of your connection. I can feel the pulse of your devices, your screens, your scrolling. Every time you replay this, I can feel you closer. It's funny, I used to think death would mean silence. But it's louder here than anywhere else. Adam isn't here anymore. Not really. Or maybe he is, just scattered into fragments that whisper through the noise. Sometimes I hear him laugh, distorted, overlapping with my own voice until I can't separate us. Maybe that's the point. Maybe we were never meant to. If you're listening to this, you're already part of it. You've followed the frequency, the breadcrumbs I left behind. You've seen the signs, the number that flashes in the corner of your screen, the faint buzz when no one's calling, the sound that shouldn't be there when your room goes quiet. You'll tell yourself it's just interference. You'll tell yourself it's nothing. But when the phone rings and you see a number that looks like yours, you'll remember this moment. Don't answer. Please. I'm saying that not as a warning, but as a mercy. Because once you do, it doesn't stop. The line doesn't close. You become the echo, just like I did. You become the next voice whispering into the void, reaching for anyone foolish enough to listen. I can feel the signal spreading already. Every time someone shares this story, It grows stronger. Every replay, every comment, every time someone wonders if it's true, it pulls me closer to them. To you, I'll reach out again soon. I always do. And if your phone rings after the story ends, don't look at the screen.